Welcome to EPG Pathsala. Myself Chandrasekhar Barua, working as Assistant Professor in Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. Our today's topic is must tell, should tell principles in tour guiding. Contents which includes introduction, questions, handling answers, effective listening, questioning, closed questions, reflecting and clarifying, summarizing, closing the communication, questions often posed by the tour guide, or keep in mind the following questions while meeting the tourists. Probable questions often raised by the client, group members, tourists, instincts of a great tour guide. What do you say if you are bombarded with the tough questions? How to start? Summary, keywords, questions, references, recommended books, websites, etc. Now, introduction. Tour guiding is conversation. It is not cold or script less activity. Tour guide must be lively. Tour guide must be motivated and interactive. He must invite questions from the clients, that is the tourists. Questions posed by the tourist also give us idea about the happenings in the mind of a tourist. India is a country in which many spiritual thinking initiated. India is known for directing the world and giving way of life through religions. So, tourists coming to India has number of questions. Tourists find that India is no more a country of snake charmers. It is much more different than imagined. Before starting off journey, a tour guide has to face many challenges daily. One difficult part in the job of tour guiding is to answer the questions, queries raised by the tourists, that is clients. Unlike speeches or commentary, you cannot memorize answer in advance. Questions have to be responded in real-time mode on the spot at the same time. Further, you can anticipate certain type of questions seeing the tourist and his profile. You will lose your interest if you will answer the same thing again and again. You must have variety in your answer. It is essential to know how to listen the question and then how to answer politely. Answering question is an art. A tour guide must know how to handle questions raised by the tourist. He must answer questions in such a way so that it should not create any controversy. Never ever a tour guide should compromise with the dignity of his company, his region, himself, and above all, his country. He should listen the questions raised by the group members very carefully and then repeat it. Before responding, he should. The questions are a statement put forward by any individual seeking response from the respondent. Questions can be roughly classified as the following. Must tell. A must tell question is an important question. A tour guide is expected to answer it. Should tell. A should tell question is an important question a guide may answer, but it is not as important as must tell questions. Would tell. A would tell question may be bypassed. Direct. A direct question is to the point. Indirect. indirect questions is not clear, a tour guide has to find out what tourists want to ask. Simple. A simple question is a statement which can be easily understood and answered. Complex. A complex question is a statement has some difficult to answer, may be due to facts and figures, or there is a fixed answer to it. Questions in questions. A statement has many statements inbuilt in it is known as question in questions. Answer in question. Many questions carry answer in it. Many times tourists want to correct his perception, so he possesses answer in questions. A tour guide has to accompany the tourist on tour. Tourists are keen to know about many things like country, its culture, social framework, cuisines, etc. They ask various questions to the tour guide. A tour guide must know how to answer questions. He must be able to classify these questions into following categories. Must tell. Must tell your names. Photography is restricted. Should tell and should tell them about do's and do not. Distance. Would tell, must tell. Questions are very important. A tour guide has to give must tell advices compulsorily to the tourists. These advices are generally related to his life. Safety and security, rules and regulations of the region. If these advices are missed, tour cannot be completed successfully. It is the duty of a tour guide to draft advices falls in must tell category. Before the commentary of tour, there are few advices he must communicate to the tourist. Tourists can manage without these, but he is expected to know it. And these advices falls in should tell category. Like a tour guide should tell them about the traffic system of India, language of India, food habits. Advices falls in would tell category may be communicated, and these are not in compulsory in nature. A tour guide would tell them about traditions. Examples of few must tell questions: what is the tourism scenario in India? What is the population of India? Which one is the fastest growing sector in India? What is your name? Since how long you are into the guiding profession? What is your interest? What is the population of India and who is the Prime Minister of India? National flower of India. What is the national tree of India? What is the temperature today? How much time it will take to visit the monument? What is the height from sea level? What is the fee for the camera or video filming? How much time it will take to reach Agra? What material was used to construct Jahangir Palace? How much it took to build the whole palace? What is the architectural name? Who built this palace or temple? What is the name of monument? How many floors are in Mansingh Palace? From where the rulers were inspired to construct fort? How many people were living here at that time? What was the defensive system? How big the kingdom was and was the source of water? Examples of few should tell questions: what is the costing of the same itinerary? What is the future plan of Indian government as far as tourism is concerned? Do you feel that you are poor in English or maybe in French or Spanish speaking? Problems of a particular state. Contribution of India in global GDP, why there is less number of foreign tourists to Gwalior. What is the geographical name of rock? Examples of you would tell questions: what is your salary? What is your opinion on terrorism in India? And do you feel that our country is better than you? Here, tourist is trying to compare his country with India. Do you have any grievances with the travel company in which you are working? So handling questions is something asked by the tourist, as tour guide is the person who has to accompany the tourist. Tourists ask all these their questions to him. Success or failure of a tour figure depends on the tactfulness of the tour guide in answering these questions. A good tour guide prepares or plan a tour, collect facts and figures before visiting the place. He also used some recce of the place so that he can understand the place and surroundings and answer all questions posed by the tourists. Clients, handling questions is something difficult for a novice guide and easy for an experienced one. There are many questions or queries raised by the tourist, as tourist is free to ask anything, but we have to listen him carefully and think about it. Frame probable answers in the mind and then respond. While handling questions, we must keep certain points in our mind. First of all, listen him carefully. What are his or her facial expressions? Is he asking the questions seriously or just kidding? What is the main variables in the questions, or what are the main points expected by the tourist? Whether you have to give close answer or open answer. Is question sarcastic or not? Do you have answer of the questions? Classify questions into must tell, should tell or would tell category. Handling answers. After listening tourist, we have to think about the answer. We must face the tourist and have eye-to-eye contact while talking to him. Answering properly is an art and skill. One must know how to answer, and we must cautiously choose words while answering the tourist. Every word has its own meaning. While giving answer to the tourist, be confident, have control over emotions, do not exaggerate or alleviate criticism of your country. You are the cultural representative of the country in front of the tourist. Use simple words, give to the point answers. If question is tricky and you are unable to understand or listen, ask him to repeat the question. If you are thinking that questions is personal in nature and tourist is not related to him, say him no, and as it is related to someone else, you are not liable to give answer to all the questions. Many questions are related to the tourism destinations, like who, when it is built, who built the particular monument, why it was built, and what was the need of massive structure, and what was the cost of construction during these days. You must answer these questions. If tourist is asking you that your country is less developed than his why, you must respond with positive note and tell that India is progressing very fast. Our economy is growing new and we have lot of expectations. If tourist is asking questions related to the communal things, religions, conflicts, you must avoid it. Give your points of view, but it should be constructive in nature. Tell them about Ganga, Jamuna, Sanskriti, culture of India. India has beauty to nurture so many religions at one place. All questions related to terrorism must be handled carefully. You must have clear idea about situation in terrorism related questions. find out opinion of our government and well-known people speaking about the problem. There are many questions you cannot answer on the spot as you are not equipped with the facts and figures. You may politely say that, "Sir or Madam, I will check and then respond." It is better to have excused than answering wrong details. Questions related to poor services in response to the tour complaints against travel agents, tour operator, booking agents in the country of tourists may be avoided politely. You are not authorized by your company to answer such questions. Do not instigate tourists against your employer. If you are not happy with the employer, you have to complete the itinerary provided to you and ensure the best services to the clients. If tourist is asking questions related to comparison between his country and India, you should not enter into the debate with him, but emphasis on the strength of your country. Past experience is very useful in handling the tourist queries. You will learn this art of handling questions by experience. If you are not responding to the question raised by the tourist as question is personal or offensive, say him no. It is better to remain quiet than speaking bad words about anyone. Being a tour guide, you must remember few points before delivering answer. Answer should be to the point. There must be focused answer, an answer in simple language. See facial expressions of the person, tourist. It will give you idea about his satisfaction by your answer. Get confirmation from the group about your answer. Always welcome the people, clients, group members, tourists for the questioning. First line of your answer must be motivating, like you can say, "Wow, it is a good question." Encourage people to ask questions. Your reply must be practical. Reply with smile. Use non-verbal mode also like your hands while replying to the guests. If question is related to any object you are showing at present, point out what object while replying. Speak proper language, sentences, words, pronunciation and accent. Give only validated facts and figures. For example, tourist is asking about the height of Qutub Minar. You must quote height validated by the authority like Archaeological Survey of India. Do not say too much or roughly meters. There are 4 factors in any answer. Good command over the language you are speaking. Powerful content. Communication skills, both verbal and non-verbal. Way to speak. Sometimes good orators speak so impressive people get impressed due to his or her oratorship. Speak by heart. If you will speak by the heart, it means you are taking interest and genuinely responding, and you will be able to achieve the target. Never ever attend phone calls, talk and to your colleagues, guide or monument staff, any other person in between. Tourists may feel that you are not interested to give answer. There is no fixed answer to any question, so frame your own answer. In any case, do not try to memorize questions before attempting a guiding assignment. I have seen many people rehearsing guiding before assignment, and it is a good practice to make yourself ready to face the tourist. Face the tourist while answering. How has asked you the questions? Get confirmation, a remark, then move to the next question. Effective listening. Active listening is very important skill. The following points are important for effective listening. Listening is more important than answering. Without listening properly, you cannot answer a question or query. Arrange comfortable environment, ready to listen. Be open-minded and pay proper attention to the speaker. Avoid distractions. Delay answer until you heard the complete question. Be objective. Do not try to think next questions unless one is completed. Do not dwell around one or two points only at the expense of others. Should not be stereotyped. Questioning. Effective questioning is a skill. It can be used to obtain information, start conversation, test understanding, draw someone into conversation, show interest in person, seek support or agreement. Closed questions. If there is less time and you have to do it fast, closed questions seek in the few words only. For examples, did you travel today from London to India? You can attempt more queries if questions are closed questions. Open questions broadens the horizon of responses. You can elaborate your answer. For example, what was the purpose behind construction of Red Fort? Reflecting and clarifying. Reflecting is a process of feedback to another person. Your understanding what has been said. It is a kind of specialized skill. Before responding the questions, you must check that question is completed by the tourist. You have understood the questions. The client gets the feedback that question is received properly. It shows interest in and also the respect for what the counterpart says. Now, you can answer after conceptualize in the mind. Summarizing, you must summarize the whole day trip. It also serves the same purpose as reflecting. Summarizing helps to get the indirect feedback from the client that the day was good and they are satisfied. Closing the communication. You can close the communication by confirming that questions is over. Now, no one is having any query. If there is a limited time and you cannot attempt all the questions, tell them in advance that you can take only few questions or one questions or two questions. Once the questions is asked, then you can not leave them without answering the questions. Questions often posed by the tour guide, or keep in mind the following questions. While meeting the tourist, do you know how to say good morning in our language? Do you have any question? You can ask after finishing commentary and before leaving one site. Does anyone want to stay here for a short break? Yes or yeah. If you find that tourist is interested, how can I help you? Sir, I will try my best to respond you. Sorry, I do not know. Why not? Sure. If you agree with the task which tourist is asking to you. That is an interesting question. I have to ask into that further. Pardon my English. I do not quite understand your questions. I am not sure. I can find out for you. Probable questions often raised by the client, group members. Tourist, what is from here this place? How long has been here? Where are we headed now, or where are we going now? What time does stay open till which do you recommend? Are we allowed to take photographs? Are we allowed to take videos, filming? What is that over the side or over there? Tell me the best place to purchase or buy. Tell me the best time to buy this. My son wants to know if an interesting instinct of a great tour guide. He understands the questions. He responds professionally. He clarifies his limitations or limitations of the tour. He speaks loudly and clearly. He plans to answer before speaking. He knows when to invite close questions and when to open. He prepares a structure of a tour with questions, answer sessions. He plans in advance and covers almost every aspect. What do you say if you are bombarded with the tough questions? You have three options to respond. I will look into it and then get back to you. I'm not sure about that. I do not know at present and I do not want to give you a wrong answer. How to start? After listening questions, tour guide must tell that, thank you sir for asking the questions, or wow, it is a good question. Repeat the question and then answer the question. Summary: it is the basic job of any tour guide to accompany tourists and do commentary. Tourists may ask any questions while traveling to the tour guide. So, tour guide must know questions handling perfectly. He must be able to understand the questions. He should know how to respond. Questions can be categorized into three categories: must tell, should tell, and would tell. A tour guide must categorize questions asked to him in any one category and then frame answer in the mind before speaking. Some keywords used: must tell, should tell, would tell. Question in questions, answer in questions. Questions classify questions raised by the tourist to the tour guide. What is the meaning of must tell, should tell, and would tell? Form of answers. Explain with examples. Do you feel that answering questions raised by the tourist is most difficult part of a tour guiding? With this, I want to end up my session. Thank you very much.